Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dr. Movie, where I watch the movies so you don't have to. Well, finally got to do it. I finally got to check out Cocaine Bear. I knew instantly when I saw the previews for this, I was going to have to check this one out. So let me get around this big semi here. But yeah, couldn't wait to check it out. And I'm a big fan of bear movies, I guess you'd say. I like creature features and stuff like that. So instantly when I saw this, it was just crazy enough, right? So I have I don't know, there's a line that can be crossed there, right? Cocaine Bear, loosely based on something that really happened. Okay, I'm game. Now, there's a trailer for another movie. I think it's just kind of a spoof, but Cocaine Shark. I'm not interested. As much as I like sharks, I don't know, man. I have a problem with bad shark movies. As much as I love sea creatures, I don't know. I think it's just been running aground is the problem, right? So I don't need Ghost Shark. I don't need Exorcist Shark or Shark Exorcist, or I just don't. I don't need them. They're a little too far. Now, Cocaine Bear, fine. Cocaine, bear gets a hold of some cocaine. We got a movie, and I'm down for that. So just to clarify, if there's any confusion on where I stand on movies, I like a good bad movie, but I like it when it's not trying to be bad. And I don't think this one is. I think this one is trying to have fun, for sure. But I don't think it's trying to be a bad movie. And that's kind of what I liked about it. So let's talk about this. Obviously, it's 2023. It's brand spanking new. It's a comedy horror movie, which, I kind of talked about this before. There's only really a handful that I really care for that qualify into this. They gave it a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. Yeah, not bad. But let's talk about this. Let's do the synopsis here. It says, after a 500-pound black bear consumes a significant amount of cocaine and embarks on a drug-fueled rampage, and an eccentric gathering of cops, criminals, tourists, and teenagers assemble in a Georgia forest. Right. So it kind of kicks off in Tennessee, the Tennessee-Georgia line, which is close to where my sister lives. Towards Chattanooga, that kind of area, Knoxville, East Tennessee. And, but it goes into the forest of Georgia. So, directed by Elizabeth Banks. And let's talk about this cast, right? So we've got Ray Liotta. Sadly, this is the last thing I'm gonna say that he's in. There may be something else he's recorded that just hasn't come to be finished yet. But needless to say, as awesome as Ray Liotta is, and as many things as he's been in, to claim that Cocaine Bear is the last thing you were in, I think is pretty sweet. Just saying. We got Kerry Russell in this. That's right, Felicity herself. We've got, I'm pulling up some more people. We got O'Shea Jackson Jr., straight out of Compton, Jesse Tyler Ferguson. So you got a great lineup here. Brooklyn Prince is Dee Dee, and Christian Convery are the kids in this that are fantastic. But the one that steals the show for me is Margot Martindale. And I think she makes this movie. And I also love her because she's Dewey Cox's mom, right? I love Dewey Cox. I need to do that on here. But yeah, man, this flick is fun, and it kind of gets serious all of a sudden. So it's really hard to put the finger on exactly what's happening. But yeah, you got a drug lord that has a shipment that's being dropped, and the idiot that's throwing the packages of cocaine out for distribution ends up making some mistakes and dropping them in the wrong areas, yada yada, that kind of stuff. And that leads to the lost cocaine being found by a black bear, and she becomes addicted and wreaking havoc everywhere she goes, right? So she's out of her mind, she's attacking people. You get some obvious tips of the hat to, some Jaws things where people are screaming out, outside of the bushes, but you see them being drugged by their feet into the bushes. Very, very Jaws-like. And that's totally fine, right? Obviously, for the most part, a CGI bear. And, it works okay. It doesn't really take you out of the movie. And plus, to get it to do the things they're wanting it to do, especially when, with coke all over its face and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I thought it was done pretty dang well. And, but yeah, Margot Martindale is the park ranger. And there's so much character development in this. And if there's anything I probably could complain about is maybe not enough bear, but you could wear out the welcome with that too, right? So, I don't know. There's a lot of character development. So, because you got to have a body count here for people to get killed. So you got some guys that work for Ray Liotta, who's the drug boss, that are out and about searching for the drugs. Then you got a police chief and his sidekick, who's been tracking Ray Liotta all these years, trying to finally catch him. And so he's on the trail as well. And you got just a mishmash of characters, right? You got these kids from the 80s that, they're on their skateboards and their bicycles. And apparently they find a bag of the cocaine. They hide it in a gazebo out in the park. And apparently they are on some, but they're little pickpocket stealers, right? They're wanting to be gangster, but they're really not. They're just little bitty average scrawny white kids on skateboards and bicycles. And they confront one of the guys that's looking for the drugs, which is O'Shea Jackson, David. And they get in this big battle in a bathroom. And of course, O'Shea Jackson just pretty much mops the floor with them. But they're pretty hyped up, right? These kids have been messing with the coke, I believe. And so now they feel invincible, and they get it handed to them. But that leads to our people that are looking for the drugs taking one of the kids and saying, "Show me where you found the drugs and where you've got it at," all that kind of stuff. And lots of dialogue. And I don't know, it works better than I expected. Obviously, we're watching this movie for one thing and one thing only. We want to see a coked up bear, taking care of business. And, but there's a whole lot of humor in it, which if you saw the commercials and stuff, that's probably why you thought this probably wasn't even a real movie. It does have some humor in it, but it's got some gore in it too. And, like I said, back at the Forest Ranger, depot station, like I said, Liz, which is Margot Martindale, she's fallen for this guy that's kind of an animal activist guy, and they are out looking around because there's a mom that shows up, which is the little girl's mom, played by Keri Russell. Her name is Sari, whatever it is. But she knows that her kid didn't go to school, and her little girl is hanging out with her best friend, and they decided to skip school and go to, I think it was a waterfall or something like that. Well, on the way, they stop at this little area and they find a package of cocaine. And the little boy's like, yeah, I do coke all the time. So you get this whole thing where these kids are, pretending to do coke, and they split open one of the packages and just take a knife blade, and the little girl asks, well, how much are we supposed to take? And he says, I don't know, like a teaspoon? So they get at this honking amount on a knife blade and ingest it, or are going to eat it. And of course, it tastes so terrible, they just spit it all out. So they might have got a little buzz, but they didn't take all of that because they would have died instantly, obviously. Kind of the humor of the whole thing. And but in that process, during this time, that's when they see the bear, and the bear chases the kids run away, the forest ranger and the activist guy show up, which the sheriff or the ranger has the hots for this guy. She's put on this perfume trying to make her moves, I guess. And that guy ends up falling into some cocaine and getting it all over him. And at one point, you got the bear chasing the little boy up a tree, and on the tree next to him is this activist guy, and he's got cocaine all over it. So the bear is climbing up to get the kid, but can smell the cocaine on the other guy and jumps from one tree to the other and just chews the guy up right there in the tree. It's pretty awesome. Then there's a lot that happens back at the ranger post, and there's the other kids that show up. They call an ambulance because they got beat up in the bathroom by the thug, even though they were asking for it. And they call an ambulance. Well, while this is happening, the bear breaks in, starts slashing people, and when the ambulance driver and everybody show up, the bear is in one of the rooms eating one of the kids. And the ambulance drivers, they strap down the forest ranger because she got mauled quite a bit too, right? And she goes back to get help, and that's when you find out all this other stuff. And of course, she's hurt pretty bad. She gets hurt even worse when the bear gets in there chasing the teenage kids. And they end up getting her on the gurney, putting her in the back of the ambulance. And then they find out the bear is in the building with them, and they take off. They jump in the ambulance and take off. So we got this coked up bear chasing an ambulance with the back door of the ambulance open, and the second ambulance guy, medic. Sorry, it's hard to think of words and dodge traffic at the same time. And it's just an incredible scene of this coked up bear chasing an ambulance and catching up with it, jumping in the back of it, and knocking the forest ranger out, and she's still on the gurney, and she basically just slides on the blacktop on her face with the gurney on her back. It's awesome. It's great. I wanted to stand up and cheer, but I couldn't. But I just thought it was so funny, so good. And obviously, that causes the ambulance driver to lose control of the vehicle and crash into a tree, killing pretty much everybody. And so there's quite a bit of body count here. You do get some showdowns where the cops show up to go against the people that are there to get the drugs. Ray Liotta shows up later on, and he's like, look, we got to find every ounce of this stuff because my butt's on the line. So I don't care who we have to kill or what we got to do, we got to get all this cocaine. So you got that whole scenario happening. And I don't know, it really gets to be, a mad world where you got so many characters running and fighting each other, and you kind of forget about the whole bear scenario till it's the right time for it to show up, right? Come to find out, this is a mama bear. She's got some cubs, and she's taking some cocaine back for the cubs. So now you got the cubs are all jacked up as well. And there's a big confrontation between Carrie Russell, because she's going out and she's looked for the kids. She found the kids in the bear's cave, and she's trying to get them out, where Ray Liotta and all his bunch is going into the cave trying to find the cocaine. There's kind of a big standoff. Of course, Mama Bear shows up to take care of the cubs, protect the cubs, and ends up, getting shot. And she falls off a cliff and lands just down a little bit lower on another ledge. And just like you expect, almost like Godzilla movie type action, where Ray Liotta's trying to pull there's another bag that's got the cocaine in it, and it's hung. And when he pulls on it, one of the packages of cocaine falls out, falls over the ledge, hits a rock and breaks, and just a big cloud of cocaine settles over the bear, and the bear ingests it, and it comes right back, just like when Godzilla gets, electrocuted or whatever, and it re-energizes. Bear gets re-energized, takes care of Ray Liotta, pretty much disembowels him, and the baby cubs eat him. That's pretty much what happens. And then you get to where you get to your movie scenario where our heroes are walking off in the sunset and the police are showing up afterwards, right? How we end all the movies like that. I found this really enjoyable. Again, I knew what I was getting into. If you like bad movies, if you like movies that are a little bit funny, a little bit gory, all at the same time, this is your movie. It's your movie. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. Is it a masterpiece? No. Will it be a cult classic? I think it could be. Is the bear violent enough? They kept it a bit more realistic than I expected, which maybe in time will do this movie some service, right? Instead of it being so ridiculous to where it's doing things that are just not physically possible, which, a lot of stuff's probably not anyways, but still. It gives it a bit more reality, I guess, to a certain extent, of just the abilities that a coked up bear would have. Catching an ambulance running at full speed, yeah, it's a stretch, but they can move pretty quick. So yeah, I'm glad I finally got to see it. I will definitely watch it again. I would even watch it with somebody. This is one that I would like, yeah, you need to see this. Matter of fact, I told a friend of mine at work, hey, just checked it out. You need to see it. It's your kind of movie. So you kind of know who you can tell those kind of things to, right? So there you go. I'm going to give this it a 4 out of 5. I don't think it's quite a 5 for me. It's barely a 4, just because it's new. It's the first time I've seen it, and it hasn't settled completely with me, but I did enjoy it. Thought it was a lot of fun. Thought it was really funny. I mean, there's some stuff in this that, just conversations that almost remind me of some Tarantino style dialogue, right? Which, what does it nowadays? I mean, everybody's just kind of ripping off that style. But it works. It works. So there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Go check it out. You can find it in some places, but it's not on Tubi, I can tell you that. Maybe someday. Alrighty, folks. If you have any suggestions, any comments, if you like this movie, let me know. Check me out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, everywhere else. Or, just say, hey, dude. You can do that too. All right, folks. Till then, we will check you later.